What's up, Internet? Welcome to Once Over. I'm Kaylee, and today we're going to be giving the once over to 5 movies from 1975 that you probably missed. Spoiler alert, Smile is one of them. So we're continuing along in the series. These are going to be 5 movies that I absolutely love that came out in the year 1975 that I think that you might not have seen because either they weren't popular at the time, or they didn't become cult classics, or you just missed them. Why did I pick 1975? I still have no idea why I'm picking whatever year I'm picking. It's just a whim. I click on a year, I'm like, oh, this is the year that I'm gonna do today. So let's get into it. The first movie that came out in 1975 that I absolutely love, but you might have missed, didn't actually get released until 2019, and that is George Romero's Amusement Park. I lied, it's The Amusement Park. This was a lost film for a lot of years, however many is in between 1975 and 2019, and nobody knew about it. But of course, George Romero is infamous beyond infamous. Romero effectively invented zombies with Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, and then of course he did other amazing stuff like The Crazies, Monkey Shines, tons of amazing movies. He changed the genre of horror, the category of zombies, and the town of Pittsburgh in immeasurable ways. Also, I used to live in Pittsburgh, and he used to really love going into the Cheesecake Factory, and I had a couple of friends who worked there, so they used to tell me whenever he would be in, and I would go and like sit near him. I didn't want to bug him while he was like eating dinner and shit, but I thought it was really cool. However, the amusement park is nothing like anything else that he's done. It was intended to be a PSA about ageism, and it is harrowing in all of the same ways that he makes his zombie movies harrowing, while still being totally different. It's not your standard horror film, but in many ways it's as terrifying as anything else out there. And as always, Romero nails social commentary. The plot focuses around an elderly gentleman who spends the day in an amusement park, and it ends up being quite nightmarish. If you are a fan of Romero or amusement parks, or terrified of aging, this one is for sure for you. Next up, we have Shampoo. Shampoo was directed by the absolutely amazing Hal Ashby, who also directed Harold and Maude and Being There, and I love him. He's an amazing director, one of my favorites. And it stars Warren Beatty and Goldie Hawn, as well as Carrie Fisher's first ever film performance. Debut is the word that I'm looking for. Words are really fucking hard today. Shampoo follows around a Beverly Hills hairdresser played by Warren Beatty. Great role for him because he is super promiscuous and we get to kind of live a little bit in his life. He wants to open up his own salon, but he accidentally beds down the wife, the daughter, and the mistress of his potential backer. Oopsies. Somebody help Warren Beatty control his libido. This film at its heart is a satire that focuses on the sexual history of the late 1960s. So it's a little bit introspective, and it very much has that political influence that Hal Ashby includes in so many of his films. Plus sex. I guess he does a little bit of sex in some other films, but this one a lot. Plus Carrie Fisher, come on. And Goldie Hawn is amazing in this film too. Oh my god, how am I not even talking about her? She's gorgeous. Next up, we have Picnic at Hanging Rock. Picnic at Hanging Rock was directed by Peter Weir, who of course also directed The Truman Show, Dead Poets Society, Master and Commander, tons of other shit. And this was the first film that I watched as a youngin' that was like a period piece that had come out well before when I was born that I actually got into. My mom was like, you're gonna love this movie. I was getting into horror and psychological thrillers. She insisted that I watched it, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna like it. I'm not gonna like it. It's an old movie. It's boring. It's not gonna be cool. I loved it. I absolutely fell in love with this one. The aesthetic is amazing. The storyline, beautiful. The scenery, absolutely everything about this film is harrowing, terrifying. You're on the edge of your seat, and you don't always exactly know why. Picnic at Hanging Rock is about a bunch of boarding school girls who go for a picnic at Hanging Rock. But of course, everything is not exactly as it seems, and I believe the tagline of the movie is even that not all of them will return. This film was a commercial and critical success, and it was part of the Australian new wave of cinema that at the time was just starting to emerge. When I think of Australian cinema, the two movies that I always think of are this and what the fuck is that movie called? Wake and Fright, jeez. Wake and Fright rules. Lost my train of thought entirely. This movie is ominous and mystical, and I connect so deeply with it, even though there's really not a ton to connect with. It almost feels like a David Lynch film without being a David Lynch film, obviously. So if you haven't seen this one and you're kind of looking for an idea of what it's going to be like, that is kind of how I would describe it. Just a little fun fact about this film. There's like the little like push in on the koala at one point, which The Simpsons then copies. I absolutely love seeing what Matt Groening took from 1970s films. Obviously tons and tons of references, especially in the early seasons of The Simpsons. A lot of the time when something weird was happening on The Simpsons, I used to always think that it was a reference to the TV show The Prisoner, but that koala thing is definitely from Picnic at Hanging Rock. Also, are there like a billion lesbian related analyses of this movie? I don't know. It seems ripe for the taking, and I love it. Next up we have Night Moves, directed by Arthur Penn and starring Gene Hackman and an entirely too young for her nudity scenes Melanie Griffith. Boy, she has a interesting history, huh? Small aside about Melanie Griffith, just because I want to. She is, of course, the daughter of Tippi Hedren, star of The Birds, and she did a lot of weird shit, especially when she was super young. When Night Moves came out, she was 17, I believe. So she would have been like 16 when she was filming it. I think she was already married to Don Johnson at the time, who was also substantially older than her. Why not do some, lots of nudity? Woo! Okay. Alright, that's the only weird thing about this movie. Other than that, it fucking rules. Oh, Melanie Griffith also famously was in the movie Roar, which was made by Tippi Hedren and her husband, whose name is escaping me right now. Roar's tagline is, "No animals were harmed during the filming of this movie, but 70 cast and crew members were." And Melanie Griffith was one of the cast and crew members who was, in fact, injured. Lots of animal stuff in that one. It was bad situation. Everybody almost died. Stupid big cats. They're so cute. Anyways, back to Night Moves. Night Moves is a neo-noir that follows around a private detective who is working on what he believes is going to be a standard missing persons case. The film is like a detective movie, but the question of the film is not who is the killer or what happened. Instead, it really questions existence. That's a very bad description of this film, but it is anything but standard as detective movies go. And of course, it seems that the moral of the movie is don't go to Florida. Lastly, we are talking about one of my favorite movies from 1975, which is Smile. If you guys have not seen this film, you are probably at least familiar with my poster of it because it is in the background of quite a few of my reviews. I love this movie. Why is there a fucking fly in my house right now? I'm like dying and I want to die. Smile. Smile was directed by Michael Ritchie and it stars Bruce Dern and Barbara Feldon. And it is a true piece of Americana about a beauty pageant. It is a shrewd satire that is all about how its characters flourish in America and how their social normative practices are maybe not that great. So basically, we're making fun of beauty pageants here. It's almost like the predecessor to Drop Dead Gorgeous, which is another movie that I really like. It is the predecessor to Drop Dead Gorgeous. Who am I kidding? It at 110% is.
You get your ass up there and show me some teeth.
There is no way that that movie was not heavily influenced by Smile. You already know that this is a 1975 review, so no, I do not mean the 2022 movie Smile, which whatever about that movie. This movie is the best Smile. It's the OG Smile. And it's not even a little bit similar to the 2022. Not a remake. 2022 is not a remake of this. This film is a time capsule of an aesthetic and social commentary narrative that is just stunning.
From the moment she's born, every girl is eligible. All it takes is a pretty face, a little talent, a lot of luck, and a great big smile.
I think that one of the things that I love so much about the 1970s films is they are bereft of all of the crap that we kind of get today in movies, and Smile does that in spades. So if you want to watch a movie about beauty pageants that basically says fuck beauty pageants, this is great for you. Do I really need to say more than Michael Ritchie and Bruce Dern? You should just watch this movie. All right, so that was 5 movies from 1975 that I absolutely love that you probably haven't seen. Please let me know if you've seen these ones. Let me know what else I should check out from the year 1975 and what I have missed. There are so many good movies from the 70s, like an unbelievably large amount of good movies from the 70s. So I know that for sure there is stuff I have not seen. Give me the recommendations down in the comments below. Please also don't forget to like and subscribe. It means a lot to me and I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching and I can't wait for the next one. Bye. Next up we have Picnic at Hanging Rock. Is it The Picnic? Jesus fuck. No, it's just Picnic.